The greatest tragedy in football is not losing a final. It is losing the people who created the memories. Long before modern stadiums, long before social media remembered every goal, Scottish football was built by men who played through pain, through rain, through broken bodies, and for supporters who never stopped believing. Many became heroes, some became icons, but none of them expected their story to end so soon. Their careers inspired generations. Their names still echo around Ibrox, Celtic Park, Fir Park, Tynecastle, and grounds where supporters still remember exactly where they were when the news arrived. This is not about how they died. It is about why Scotland still refuses to forget them. Because legends do not disappear when their lives end. They disappear when their stories stop being told. Subscribe now, because today we're remembering 8 Scottish football legends whose stories deserve to live forever. Defenders knew what was coming, they still couldn't stop it. Davie Cooper didn't play with power. He played with patience. One touch, one feint, one magical left foot. When Rangers signed him in 1977, Cooper smiled and said, "There's just not another club I would have signed for." Supporters knew they were watching someone different. Then came the moment that made him immortal. The Old Firm, 1979. Surrounded by Celtic defenders, Cooper refused the easy pass. He danced through them instead. Rangers supporters later voted it the greatest goal in the club's history. Graham Souness later recalled, "When I saw Davie walk up and place the ball on the spot, I knew we had won the cup. Because players like him didn't disappear under pressure. They demanded the ball." Across 540 matches, Cooper won 3 league titles, 3 Scottish Cups, and 7 League Cups. Later, he helped Motherwell lift the 1991 Scottish Cup. Football never left him, even after retirement. On 22 March 1995, while filming a coaching session for children, Cooper suddenly collapsed. A brain hemorrhage had struck without warning. He died the next day. He was only 39. Scottish football lost more than a great player. It lost one of its greatest artists. And every time that famous goal is replayed, Davie Cooper reminds us that genius never grows old. Jock Stein understood Willie Hamilton. That did not mean he could control him. Hamilton had rare natural ability. He could drift past defenders, find space, and change a match without warning. Stein believed his talent belonged beside Scotland's finest. He later compared Hamilton's ability to Kenny Dalglish. But talent was never the problem. Discipline was. Hamilton drank heavily, gambled, and repeatedly damaged his own career. Before important matches, Stein sometimes kept him inside his own home. It was the only way to know where he was. At Hibernian, Hamilton produced some of his finest football. He helped Stein transform the team and showed supporters what he might have become. But those moments never lasted. He moved between clubs, won only 1 Scotland cap, and finished with far less than his talent deserved. In 1975, Hamilton left Scotland for Canada. He worked as a bricklayer, far from the stadiums that once knew his name. 1 year later, he suffered a fatal heart attack. Willie Hamilton was only 38. His death was tragic, but football had already lost part of him much earlier, not through injury, not through age, through a talent he could never fully protect. Supporters had a chant for Jim Holton. 6'2", eyes of blue, big Jim Holton's after you. Opposing strikers heard it, then they had to face him. Holton feared nobody. Strong, aggressive, uncompromising. He became a hero at Manchester United. Then came 1974. Scotland arrived at the World Cup full of belief. Holton stood at the heart of the defence. Scotland never lost a match, yet they still went home. One of football's cruelest exits. Soon after, misfortune struck again. Holton broke his leg, then broke it a second time. His career never truly recovered. The giant who looked impossible to hurt could no longer fight his own body. After football, he lived a quieter life, running a pub, enjoying family life. Then, in 1993, he went for an ordinary morning run. After returning from a run, Holton suffered a heart attack shortly afterwards while sitting behind the wheel of his car. Jim Holton was gone. A heart attack ended his life. He was only 42. Manchester United lost a warrior. Scotland lost one of its toughest defenders. But those who faced Big Jim remembered one thing above all. When he came charging towards you, there was nowhere left to run. Erich Schaedler never played the game gently. Every tackle mattered. Every challenge was full-blooded. Supporters loved him for it. At Hibernian, he became one of the leaders of Turnbull's Tornadoes, a team many still consider one of the finest in the club's history. His courage earned him a place in Scotland's squad for the 1974 World Cup. Off the pitch, he was just as fearless. When an armed robber entered the pub he managed, Schaedler confronted him. Most people ran. He stepped forward. That bravery became part of his legend. But courage does not silence private battles. The strongest people often hide them best. On Christmas Eve, 1985, Erich Schaedler was found dead. He was only 36. The official verdict was suicide. His death shocked Scottish football, because the man everyone believed was unbreakable had been fighting a battle nobody could see. His story reminds us of something football often forgets. Strength on the pitch does not always mean peace away from it. Johnny Doyle didn't just play for Celtic. He lived the dream of every Celtic supporter. Fearless, passionate, never willing to back down. He gave everything. Every tackle, every sprint, every match. Supporters saw one of their own wearing the shirt. In 1979, Doyle was sent off against Rangers. Reduced to 10 men, Celtic fought back to win 4-2 and claim the championship. A year later, Doyle headed home against Real Madrid in the European Cup, one of the biggest goals of his career. He wasn't the most gifted footballer. He didn't have to be. His heart won people over. By the age of 30, he had already made 143 appearances for Celtic. Then, everything changed. While working at his new home, Doyle suffered a tragic electrical accident. He never recovered. He was only 30 years old. Celtic lost more than a winger. They lost one of their own. Years later, supporters still sing his name, because players like Johnny Doyle are never remembered only for football. They are remembered for the pride they gave the people who stood behind them. They called him the Ghost, not because of the way he died, because defenders could never find him. One run, one touch, one finish. By the time they reacted, White was already gone. At Tottenham, he became part of one of the greatest teams in football. The league title, the FA Cup, the famous double, then European glory. Bill Nicholson called him one of the most intelligent players he had ever managed. His best years still lay ahead. Then, in July 1964, while playing golf, a thunderstorm arrived. White sheltered beneath a tree. Moments later, lightning struck. John White was just 27. Scottish football lost one of its brightest minds, but the ghost never truly disappeared. Supporters still remember the player defenders could never catch. Phil O'Donnell never forgot where he came from. Motherwell was home. He broke into the first team as a teenager, then helped the club win the Scottish Cup in 1991. His performances earned a move to Celtic, but home kept calling him back. He returned to Motherwell, this time as captain, as leader, as the player younger teammates looked up to. Then came 29 December 2007, an ordinary league match. O'Donnell had almost completed another outstanding performance. As he walked toward the touchline, he suddenly collapsed. Teammates rushed to help. The stadium fell silent. Phil O'Donnell never regained consciousness. He was only 35. Motherwell didn't just lose their captain. Scottish football lost a man respected far beyond club colours. His shirt may have been retired, but his place in Motherwell's history never will be. John Thomson feared nothing, not even the boots charging towards him. At Celtic, he became Scotland's finest young goalkeeper. Supporters trusted him with impossible saves. He played with remarkable courage. Every match, every dive, every challenge. Then came 5 September 1931, an Old Firm match. Thomson threw himself at the ball, just as he had done countless times before. A tragic collision followed. He suffered a fatal head injury. He was only 22. Around 40,000 people attended his funeral, one of the largest farewells Scottish football had ever seen. His teammate Jimmy McGrory later said, "John Thomson was the bravest goalkeeper I ever saw. Nearly a century has passed. Yet Scottish football still remembers the young goalkeeper who never hesitated." Some legends are measured by trophies. John Thomson is remembered for something even greater. His courage never died. Neither did his legacy. Subscribe now, because every legend deserves to be remembered before they're forgotten.